I think the table is ready. It's a little bit damp, Representative, but we'd love for you to join us now if you would like to.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll proceed when you tell me it's okay to proceed.
Okay. Excuse me, Representative. I think we
Lost the quorum?
we lost everybody. I think everybody everybody had to take a short bathroom break, I think. So just give us just a minute.
All right.
Appreciate your patience.
Absolutely.
And waiting. Representative Landry, I know you've been here for a little while as well, so appreciate that. And for members of the public that are joining us, we do have additional masks and gloves and hand sanitizer, all of that. If you'd like any of that, we can ask the Sergeant at Arms to assist you. All right, Representative, if you would, I think we've got our quorum back, and if you would begin, I'd appreciate it.
Thank you, Madam Chair. To all the committee members, thank you all. My name is Royce Duplesis. I serve in the House. I actually serve on House and Governmental Affairs. I don't know if I should be in the House chamber right now or not, but I put in a card simply because procedurally, as you all know, this is a very unique scenario that we're in, and I didn't know if I would have a chance to speak on this or not. Based upon what this committee did. As we all know, the Secretary just pointed out, there has to be concurrence from both bodies, well, from both committees first, and obviously if this committee does not concur, then I think that leaves the House committee meeting to be pretty moot. So I just wanted to take this opportunity just to make a few brief comments regarding where we are today. This is actually my first time wearing a suit in a month, and I have gloves on. So it feels a little awkward. And I think most of us can probably relate. I put in a white card today. I put in a white card because, quite honestly, I wanted to see more from the Secretary of State's plan. So it's not a full endorsement from me to be in support of the plan. And I was hoping to discuss many of my concerns on the House side. I don't know if I'm going to get that chance or not. We have to see how things go. But there were some comments that were made here in committee that I was hoping I could just speak to briefly. Quite honestly, as I said, I think that the plan should have gone a little bit further in that we want to make sure that everybody has an opportunity to vote, especially under these kind of circumstances. None of us want to see happen here in Louisiana, the travesty we just saw happen in Wisconsin. I'm concerned, though, about the safety of the people of the state of Louisiana, first and foremost. I think that should be the focal point. When I look at the Secretary of State's plan, he has some specific plans to deal with polling locations. There have already been 32 polling locations that have been identified as senior or elderly polling locations where senior or elderly folks reside that are going to have to be moved. If we don't do that, that is a really concerning thing. One of those polling locations actually happened to be in my district. And I'm concerned that if we don't take some action, then we're essentially inviting the entire public to come into a senior facility to vote. That is concerning. Okay? So first and foremost, this is an issue about public safety. And obviously it's about giving people the ability to vote in a safe manner. Secondly, on the issue of expanding the vote, and I think there's so much misinformation out there in the public, especially over the last 24 to 48 hours. Many people think that this is a hearing to discuss a particular piece of legislation that I personally happen to be in support of, but that's not what we're here discussing today. We already have vote by mail in Louisiana. We already have it. It's in place. I had to use it one time when I was away at school. But it's my appreciation that anybody over 65 right now can request an absentee ballot and they can vote via mail. And, I've been voting since 2000. Some of y'all have been voting a little longer than that. And as far as I know, I don't hear any complaints about the 65 plus program being abused if this was an issue that was so-called ripe for fraud. Seems to work pretty fine to me, based on my understanding, and it's already in place. I just think there's a lot of misinformation on that. I don't want to spend a lot of time talking about that, but I just want to point that out, that we already have a system in place, and it works. It works. Just going a step further in terms of why I'm at the table today, because, again, I don't know if I'll be able to talk about it on the House side. This whole issue about mail-in voting and expanding voting, I just want to talk about the issue of standards and consistency. As elected officials, when we qualify to run for office and we put our name on that signature line and we attest to certain things being true, we can go and qualify and say we live in a certain district when we don't. We can qualify saying we paid our taxes when we didn't. And the only thing in place to contest that is a lawsuit. It's a lawsuit. So my point in raising that issue is that we're talking about the sanctity of the vote, and we should be holding ourselves to a higher standard as elected officials, but we can qualify to run for office and be limited to a certain number of days in which a lawsuit can be brought. And if that lawsuit isn't brought within a certain number of days, then our names will remain on the ballot, even if we don't live in a certain district, or if we haven't paid our taxes, or if something else on that qualification form isn't true. Okay? That's another point that I think we all need to be cognizant of. And we should hold ourselves to a higher standard if we're going to be concerned about fraud. And lastly, I just think the irony of this whole scenario is that if this proposal is to make it to the full body, which I think it should, each one of us is going to be voting by mail on the House and the Senate side. So I think there's a significant level of irony there, that each one of us get to vote by mail under these emergency circumstances. But we don't think that the people of Louisiana don't. This is a unique scenario. I think the law is in place for a reason, to give the Secretary of State the power to do it. Like I said, I think he should go further in the plan, because we could end up back in this situation for the fall. But he hasn't done that. So I think we have to do something. And, I've listened to the concerns. I think there's a lot of misinformation out there. And quite honestly, senators, I think that this is a situation that deserves the full consideration of the entire legislature. I think the Senate should adopt this proposal, this committee, and I think give the House an opportunity to debate it, to discuss it, to ask questions, and then let the full body decide. I hate the fact that we're in this situation. I don't want to be here today. I don't want to be wearing these gloves and having a mask on. But we're here. I wish we weren't under these type of conditions, and I know you all feel the same way. But a decision has to be made. A tough decision has to be made, and I'm just hoping that we will give this decision the weight that it deserves, and I think that weight entitles the entire body to be able to vote by mail on whether or not we should adopt the Secretary of State's plan. Those are my comments. I just wanted to put those on the record because, again, I don't know what's about to happen on the House side. I'm going to check in with my chairman. I do appreciate your time today. Thank y'all so much.
Thank you very much, Representative. We appreciate
Thank you.
your time. Thank you.